Welcome, everyone. Today I get to speak with California Assembly candidate Charles Cole. Candidate Cole, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me today.
Thank you for having me. Always good to talk to people.
So you're a candidate for state assembly, and you've come off of a divisive primary win.
Yes. Wouldn't call it divisive, but
oh, sorry. Decisive.
Yes. There were a
so
few
let me try again.
that got a little
off a very decisive primary win.
A few moments were divisive, but we move on from those, focus on the future.
And what would you say is your main impetus as a candidate? What do you hope to accomplish in the state assembly?
I would like to repeal all the bad bills that have been put in place in California over the past few years from the Democratic supermajority. AB 5, the gig workers bill that completely ruined all gig jobs in California. AB 262, which allows local health officials to completely disregard the constitutional rights of American citizens if they feel like what they want is needed for a virus, kind of like what they're doing right now in Ventura County for COVID. They're actually in the process of suing a local pastor in Ventura County, Rob McCoy from Godspeak Cavalry Chapel, for holding service, peaceably assembling. That's completely against the First Amendment, and I think that's absolutely disgusting.
It seems the legislature has transferred almost complete power to Governor Newsom and absolved themselves of any responsibility of the results. Meanwhile, Newsom, who puts the word science in just about every tweet, it turns out he's been relying on corrupted data. His administration was falsely underreporting the number of infections. Do you have any comment on this?
I have a lot of comments on Governor Newsom and how he's actually run this whole debacle. Just the underreported data. One of my, this is generally more off the topic, but one of my friends went in for a test. My friend's family went in for a test. They waited about half the time and then they left without taking the test, and then they got reports back saying they had COVID. So the whole testing system is completely BS, in my opinion. You hear too many stories like that where people are just going in, either not taking the test or taking the test and getting positives and negatives. So we don't know what's going on. And back to Governor Newsom. He shut down all these businesses and then he let his remain open, all the wineries. And you send him a message, yeah, we're open. Come on in, we'll be glad to have you. While his neighbors, I'm guessing in the winery business, are completely shut down and not able to have people there. What kind of corruption is that?
Yeah, so wineries in California were shut down, but he made an exception for Napa Valley where his winery is located.
Yeah. What person does that?
Right.
I cannot accept this corrupt guy to do this. I don't like him personally.
One area of governance where the legislature has not absolved responsibility is in increasing taxes. So in many different ways, Democrat assemblymen have proposed increasing taxes. They claim it's on the wealthy, though income tax was initially just for the extremely wealthy and then has propagated down to everybody else. Seems like that's the obvious future for these things. In particular, Assemblyman Rob Bonta, has proposed a wealth tax. So this is tax on money that has already been taxed. He wants to tax it while you hold it before it gets taxed as sales tax when you spend it. Do you have any thoughts on this?
Earlier, yeah.
What do you think about California increasing taxes on its population?
I would rather them cut taxes and cut waste in government. If I get in to state assembly, I'm going to say when I get in, because stuff is going terribly in California and we need to change it. Don't send the same people. So when I get in, I will be making over $100,000 as a state legislature, which I assume is partially a part-time position. That's more than most people make in a year. That is way more. I don't think a civil servant should be making that much. Especially not me. I'll fight to cut my own salary, sure. I'd rather that people keep their money, and I'd rather the wealthy not have to move out of the state and take all their wealth with them. They're going to move to Texas. We already saw Joe Rogan go. We've seen all these companies move out. Probably Tesla's going.
Elon Musk announced that headquarters of Tesla are now located outside of California. In response, California Assemblywoman Lorena Gonzalez wrote, "Expletive Elon Musk." Washington Mutual Bank moved out of California. Like a large number of companies have moved out of California. I'm affiliated, or I have friends who have started a small company. At the end of the year, they found that their taxes on the company's income exceeded 50%.
Yep.
And that was a psychological thing to them. When they realized that they'd have to give more to the government than they were able to keep, that was very disturbing to them.
Yep.
Can we get a commitment from you? Will you ever vote for a tax increase as an assemblyman?
Never. Period. No new taxes. I think the tax system is ridiculous. A few years ago, when I was still in high school and working a part-time job, I was making $12 an hour, and I was getting taxed through everything, including federal and state. I was getting taxed 38% on $12 an hour. I can't go along with that. Mm-hmm. It's very sad what they're doing to people here.
What response are you getting? Like, how are your constituents treating you with respect to the incumbent?
The incumbent is actually moving up to state senate. So I'm running against a non-incumbent.
I see.
Yeah.
And so how are people responding to your message?
So far, the ones that I've talked to have been very, very positive. They think the constitutional attacks that my opponent has done, because he's the one who's actually part of that suing the pastor for holding service, they think that's absolutely ridiculous. This country was founded and is run based off of these constitutional rights and based off of the Constitution. When you throw that in the garbage, you have nothing. And we can't let that happen. Well, it already is happening in California, but we've got to change that.
Candidate Cole, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me. Is there anything else you'd like to say before you go?
I guess this is a good one. I've seen these signs going up a lot. Had enough? Vote Republican. Vote for me.
Thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, thank you. Check me out at coalforassembly.com, Coal for Assembly on all social media. Thank you for having me, and I appreciate your willingness to come on, willingness to have me speak to you.